Hi guys, thought I'd make a quick video about the aftermath of the Iraqi general election, which was on the 11th of November, just passed, and basically going over the Kurdish parties and what it means for Kurdistan. The Kurdistan region saw some of the highest turnouts in Iraq. Duhok recorded the country's highest voter turnout at 77.47%, followed by Erbil at 71.65%. Kurdish parties ran in separate blocks. In the past they hadn't, but it is clear from the preliminary results, which we now have, that the KDP has essentially won the elections in Kurdistan. They emerged as the dominant political force across the Kurdistan region, achieving over 1 million votes, which was its goal. This is the first time that any Kurdish party has done this in Iraq's history. So in Erbil, the KDP came first with 369,000 votes, which was 10 projected seats. In Duhok, they came first as well, where they won 413,000 votes with 9 projected seats. And in Nineveh, I don't know how to say it, sorry, they ranked first with 189,000 seats, which is 5 projected seats. On the other side, we have the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan, the PUK, which secured approximately half of the KDP's vote count, coming in second among the Kurdish parties, and their geographic dominance was around Sulaimaniyah and Kirkuk. So in Sulaimaniyah, the PUK ranked first with 241,000 votes, which is 8 projected seats, and they ranked first in Kirkuk among the Kurdish parties with 178,000 votes, which is 4 projected seats. However, there were certain shifts within opposition parties, largely in the PUK-influenced areas. So we had Hawes, which performed well in its first federal election, securing 5 seats. The New Generation movement saw a major decline, dropping from 9 seats in 2021 to 3 or 4 now, and analysts say this poor showing is partly due to the arrest and imprisonment of their leader, Shazwa Abdul Wahid, and the Kurdistan Islamic Union became the largest opposition party by voter count, securing approximately 4 seats. So this clearly shows that opposition parties failed to challenge the ruling KDP-PUK duopoly. So the electoral system means that even though the KDP had one of the highest number of votes nationwide, over 1 million, they only secured around 26 parliamentary seats, and KDP leaders such as Masoud Barzani criticized the multi-constituency electoral system because they argued that it is unfair because high vote totals in Kurdistan translates into fewer seats compared to other parties nationwide. Whilst Kurds performed well in disputed territories, due to the fragmentation of lists, they suffered significant losses, particularly in Kirkuk. So in Kirkuk, Kurdish parties collectively received around 80,000 more votes than they did in 2021, yet their seat count dropped from 6 to 5. While the PUK increased its share from 3 to 4 seats, the KDP dropped from 2 to 1 seats. And this seat loss is attributed to the Arab component, specifically the Takadum Front, which gained a seat, and the proliferation of a Kurdish candidate lists, which wasted thousands of votes. Competition between the KDP and the PUK over Christian quota seats also mobilized and potentially wasted Kurdish votes. In other parts of the disputed areas, as I mentioned previously, Nineveh, the KDP led the vote and secured 5 seats, whilst the PUK secured 2 seats. Diyala, Kurdish parties collectively failed to secure seats for the first time since 2005. However, the KDP won a woman's quota seat for the first time in 20 years, but contrasting to that, the PUK failed to secure a seat despite having more votes than the list that won the final seat. As well as this, the PUK actually won a seat in Baghdad for the first time in 20 years, and they also won a quota seat in the Wasit province. In the aftermath of the election, it is clear that the KDP is going to be a pivotal player in the upcoming coalition negotiations, and they have stated that their participation in the next cabinet is contingent upon Baghdad's full commitment to implementing key constitutional articles. So by this, it's talking about Article 140 and the disputed territories of the Kurdish region. And also, it intends to use its electoral leverage to secure sustainable arrangements on oil, budget transfers and salary guarantees to reduce recurring crises as we've seen in the past with the salaries and not being paid. The presidency is typically reserved for a Kurd, which is traditionally nominated by the PUK. However, there have been some reports saying Nechirvan Barzani is being discussed as a potential candidate for the Iraqi presidency, which would break the PUK's historic hold on the position. The PUK remains cautious about the formation of the next government. They've stated that they are waiting for Shiite forces to reach a consensus on a prime minister candidate before deciding which coalition to join. Also, the election results confirmed the traditional electoral map in Kurdistan, that the KDP-PUK balance of power remains stable geographically, but the KDP is dominating the PUK. It almost doubled its votes, and it's arguing for a more majoritarian arrangement that recognises its position. They want to move away from the 50-50 power sharing model that has persisted since 1991. And I think that's all. Thanks for watching, guys.